What is going on, Bucks fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with yet another position group preview for the Buccaneers. This time, we're going to be looking at the pass rushers, the outside linebacker group here for the Buccaneers. It's a group that has been an important piece in Todd Bowles' defense for as long as he's been here, and it's had some good years and it's had some bad years. So it's again sort of like the defensive line, and we'll get into it, but sort of like the defensive line, it's a group that has a proven player, but then surrounding that proven player is a lot of unknown. So there's a lot of risk here. So let's get right into it. Of course, you got Shaq Barrett. Then you got Brandon Boye Randall, Yaya Diaby, third round pick of this year's draft, Cam Gill, Anthony Nelson, Jose Ramirez, not to be confused with the Cleveland Guardians third baseman Jose Ramirez, Hamilcar Rashid Jr., Charles Snowden, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who was a first-round pick in 2021, as well as Marquise Watts. Now, I'm going to be focusing on a few different names here, and one of them is Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. He's probably the biggest X factor, I think, for this group in 2023 because it's a make or break year for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. He has to prove that he can play well, and he was a first-round pick in 2021. Did okay in 2021. I think the Bucks were expecting a bit more of a jump in 2022 though, and it wasn't there. They let Jason Pierre-Paul walk after the 2021 season in hopes that Joe Tryon-Shoyinka could take that next step, and it hasn't quite happened yet. He's been getting pressures. It just seems like actually sacking the quarterback is really eluding him right now, as the quarterbacks are eluding him. And so last year, in 16 games started, he had 4 sacks. That's the same total that he had his rookie season. So I think the Bucks are hoping for that number to almost to basically double. I think that this year at least 8 sacks. He's going to be getting a ton of playing time, a ton of opportunities. It's a big year for Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Obviously, year 3. I think specifically players on the defensive side of the ball, sometimes they can take a little bit longer to develop than your wide receivers or your running backs, or even quarterbacks. I think playing the defensive side of the ball is a bit tougher to develop guys. So I think patience was needed. And Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, when he was drafted, he hadn't played that season. He didn't play that season at Washington. So he was kind of like a red shirt year, honestly, in the NFL for him there. So I was willing to give him a pass for the rookie year. Last year was a bit of a disappointment. He needs to come back in 2023 and prove that he was worthy of that pick, or else you could be talking about like, are the Bucks regretting that pick? Like after this season, if he puts up a season like he did in 2022, you could very well be having that conversation that like, was he really worth the 32nd overall pick? Maybe, but like probably not at that point. If he can only max out at 4 sacks, you're hoping your first round pick can get you a bit more than that. So let's move on to another young guy who obviously going to have a longer leash, but Yaya Diaby, third round pick out of Louisville, was selected by the Buccaneers. And there was a lot of things connecting the Buccaneers to Yaya Diaby in the pre-draft process. They ended up picking him. I think he can be a good player. He's an athletic freak. The profile and all the traits and stuff. He has great traits. Was third round a bit high for him? Maybe. I think, and I talked about this on the draft stream that we had on the channel here as it happened. I think it was a little bit of a reach. Would have been more comfortable with the fourth round. They didn't have a fourth round pick, so I kind of get why they would pick him in the third round just to secure him. But Yaya Diaby could be a pretty important piece. Anthony Nelson, they brought him back. He has progressed as a pass rusher, but at the same time, like some of the pass rushing things that he's had is smoke and mirrors. Sometimes he's left unblocked and just picked up the sack, or I think they need to get Anthony Nelson's a good player. He's not a great athlete per se. So I think they needed to get more athletic on the edge there. Hopefully, Yaya Diaby can help with that. And then you're talking about guys like Cam Gill with a shot to stick on the roster, and Jose Ramirez, who was their 6th round pick. Now, Jose Ramirez is sort of similar to Diaby, where he has a lot of good traits, just needs to put them all together. So I'm going to be interested to see about this group and how things play out with them, because again, just I don't. This is the comparison to the defensive line. You have a proven player in Shaq Barrett. That is your proven player, but then behind him, you got a lot of what ifs. What if Joe Tryon-Shoyinka takes the next step? What if Yaya Diaby can contribute right away? What if a guy like Jose Ramirez or Cam Gill or Charles Snowden, what if they step up and sort of surprise people? That's the risk you have. What if none of those things happen? If all of them happen, sure, you're going to be great. Like, you're going to have a great pass rush. If none of them happen, though, it's tough. I mean, especially Shaq Barrett coming off an ACL injury. He's not getting any younger. I think it's going to be tough for him to maybe be what he once was. So I do think that there's a lot of risk with this room. It's a lot of boomer bust, I think, and we'll see how this defensive pairing, fares. We'll see how the pass rush group does. It could really hinge the Buck season. I mean, it could really sink or swim for their Buck season. And because a bad pass rush, I don't care who you got in the secondary, a bad pass rush is not going to be able to help a great secondary. So it won't matter if you can't get to the quarterback. So that is really, really important. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. I'm hoping I like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka pre-draft, so I'm hoping he can step up, become the player that the Bucks thought they were getting, and then hopefully guys like Yaya Diaby, Jose Ramirez can contribute. Anthony Nelson can continue to progress, and Shaq Barrett can return to form after obviously the ACL thing and his whole offseason. It's been a really difficult offseason for him, I'm sure, and his family. So he's gonna be playing with a heavy heart, and hopefully he can get back to what he once was, and it's not a shell of himself because of the injury. That would be really unfortunate. So let me know what you guys think about the Bucks outside linebacker group. Let me know if you're excited about guys like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka or Yaya Diaby. Let me know if you're excited to see Shaq Barrett back on the field. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and talk soon.